Was there any resentment? I would say even more earlier when you started broadcasting, because you experienced those frustrations of not getting um, calls and opportunities from Cup teams, and there were drivers that you had beaten in races that were making it to the Cup Series. So here you are now, kind of becoming a broadcaster, and you're covering some of those drivers that you've beaten. Was there resentment earlier on towards those drivers?
Um, Not resentment towards them. No, I think I said this the other day in a piece with NBC where, the part that was tough was standing there on pit road or interviewing a person, who you had beaten, who's going on to win races, and you'd stand there and you'd look at it and, have that moment of introspection, be like, why am I not doing that? Right. And I think I never chose the path of blaming others. I never chose the path of feeling resentment towards my competitors or, even the decision makers in the sport, right? To me, I always looked inward and have always looked inward or looked in the mirror and said, okay, what did you do? What can you do better to have changed this situation, right? And I really think that's been my secret sauce to continuing to develop opportunities and to continue to, get the chance to drive. Um, and I think it's only human, right? That I had times where I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, why? Why am I here and they're there? And I want to be doing that, but I can't seem to figure out how to get there. And yeah, that is frustrating. It's been a wild decade basically that I think I always felt like, oh, I'd figure it out or I'd come up with a master plan and it just, but I kept having to just do the things that were in front of me, right? Which was go broadcast at the best level I could and take that opportunity and to race the races I got offered, right? And sure, I had other business ventures in there. I've had other media ventures in there. I've hosted a TV show for 3 seasons, The Proving Grounds. I did other things, which actually, when I look back right now, I will say, I talk about that where, I was maybe frustrated with the sport and not getting this cup opportunities, but man, have I had a very dynamic decade
Yeah.
that, people say, I heard a great quote the other day on one of my favorite podcasts is How I Built This. And I think it was the founder of Kinko's who said his mom told him, try everything you can in your 20s, figure out what you're good at in your 30s, make a lot of money in your 40s, and don't do any, try to do as little as possible in your 50s. I definitely tried a lot of things in my 20s. I don't lie. I had a startup, multiple startups. I did broadcasting. I've raced, and I've made it all the way back to being a full-time race car driver. So that's pretty cool. And I still don't know if I figured out what I'm good at. So, I'm only in 3 years into the 30s, right? So I probably got a couple years to figure it out. But that's, if I think about it from a positive mindset, the idea that I've gotten to do all those things and still get to be involved in the sport I love and get to drive at a high level with a great race team for an awesome owner is, I mean, that's a cool thing. And I think it's made, I love biographies and I love the idea of people who have maybe made an uncharted path, right? A path that has never been seen before, never done. And I really believe that my path is probably never been done before. And that's a really, really amazing feeling. And, at times it can be, I don't know, I don't want to say disappointing, but it can be frustrating because you're like, well, there's no template for this. How does one find themselves out of this situation or parlay it, because there's no one that's done this before. But I think that's also a cool thing, and it's really prepared me, for all stages of life. And so did I dream in my early years that I was going to be the greatest race car driver of all time and have all the trophies and whatever? For sure. But life doesn't go to plan. It's what you make of it. And I definitely in my quieter moments can sit back and look at all the stuff I've done and be like, whoa, this is crazy. How did you fit all that in just 33 years? I don't know. But it makes me really excited for whatever comes next.
And I think there's definitely benefits to getting started on a broadcasting career earlier in life rather than waiting until you were a retired driver. Is
I
it is
did.
it
Well,
Go
it did
ahead.
it all backwards. Someone said
Yeah.
that to me the other day. They're like, "You know what's funny about you is you got the broadcasting portion out of the way in your 20s." And I was like, "Well, yeah, no, I've just done it all backwards. You're supposed to win all the championships and get all the trophies and then go into broadcasting."